As SpaceX prepares for its highly anticipated IPO this June, investor demand is reaching a fever pitch. While there is zero debate surrounding SpaceX's unique competitive moat, the narrative splits when it comes to valuation. In an environment where both major funds and retail investors, myself included, are desperate for exposure to SpaceX's stock, the risk of landing on the wrong entry price is high. SpaceX would carry a price-to-revenue multiple of 56 and a price-to-EBITDA multiple of 109. Eye-popping valuations for even the fastest-growing companies. Right now, Starlink is SpaceX's true bread and butter. To make that happen, you need a complex chain of different business sectors, and SpaceX is one of the only companies that controls almost every single link. But they aren't completely alone. Other specialized players are carving out their own niches to grab a slice of this exploding space market. It all starts at the top, with strategy and governance. This is an ultimate lawmaker, setting unified protocols for outer space. These are government bodies like NASA and the FAA. Once you understand the rules of the road, you have to build the physical ground infrastructure, the user terminals and dishes required to catch that signal. Next, you have to manufacture the satellites and launch them into orbit. And finally, once those satellites are safely positioned in space, they are ready to stream internet to active war zones, commercial flights, and the most remote areas on Earth. But to keep that service alive, you have to constantly operate, sustain, and maintain that massive constellation over time. Right now, one of the hottest public companies in the market, sitting right behind SpaceX, is Rocket Lab, which has surged to $72 billion valuation. But they aren't exactly direct competitors just yet. SpaceX specializes in heavy lift launches, whereas Rocket Lab built its empire on small lift rockets. When we say small lift, it means they carry smaller payloads into orbit. If a company has a single satellite and doesn't want to buy out an entire massive SpaceX rocket, Rocket Lab is their go-to destination. That said, Rocket Lab is actively building a much larger rocket called Neutron to break into the big leagues, since the profit margins on larger launches are much higher. The biggest portion of Rocket Lab's revenue doesn't even come from rockets. It comes from satellite manufacturing. While SpaceX builds satellites exclusively for its own internal network, Rocket Lab builds them for outside clients. They handle everything: designing, creating, and operating complete satellite systems for the rest of the world. Next up is Planet Labs, a company that has surged to $14 billion valuation. By designing, manufacturing, and operating their own massive Earth observation fleet, they provide mission-critical insights to everyone from agricultural giants and forestry programs to intelligence agencies and financial institutions. For example, by monitoring the physical volume of global oil reserves from space, traders can predict shifts in energy prices. Or, by tracking how many cars are parked outside Walmart locations across the country every single day, analysts can accurately forecast corporate sales before they're ever reported. As SpaceX and rival launch companies fiercely compete to drive down the price of rocket rides, Planet Labs can replenish its satellite constellations cheaper than ever before, giving them a structural advantage. Last but not least is Viasat, sitting at $9 billion valuation. Think of them as Starlink before Starlink. Compared to thousands of fast-moving Starlink satellites, Viasat's GEO satellites operate differently. They are parked incredibly far away from Earth, moving at the exact speed of the planet's rotation. Because they perfectly match Earth's spin, each satellite appears completely frozen over the same side of the globe. This means when you connect to their internet, you are locked onto the exact same satellite all day long. This approach gives GEO satellites a massive advantage over Starlink. Because their coverage zone is so immense, Viasat only needs 3 satellites to service the planet, and they have a significantly longer lifespan. For specific markets, this creates a massive economic edge over Starlink. So, what does it actually take to survive in this market? If you are looking to invest in space, you must remember these 3 rules. Number 1, extreme regulatory barriers. Space tech isn't just commercial hardware, it is heavily tied to national security. Because of strict export controls like international traffic in arms regulations, building rockets is treated with the same secrecy as building weapons. This limits advanced aerospace manufacturing to a very exclusive club of allied nations. Number 2. The illusion of an instant global footprint. Yes, the moment a satellite constellation reaches orbit, it physically covers the entire planet. But legally, it is a slow, country-by-country battle just to win local regulatory and spectrum approvals. Number 3. The absolute necessity of flight heritage. In space, a single component failure is catastrophic and irreversible. If your hardware hasn't already survived the vacuum of space, institutional investors and customers won't touch it. Finally, if the colonization or commercialization of Mars or the Moon opens up new opportunities, the space industry will pivot in a completely different direction than where it is headed today.